Hello everyone and welcome back to the Singfield Cup. It is the penultimate round and it is one of the bloodiest rounds in a top tournament Fabi has ever seen. And this game is no exception. It's Alireza Firouzja versus Wesley So, and it's quite a nice game. Before we check it out, there is a statement that was made by the chief arbiter of the Singfield Cup regarding what's been happening in the past few days regarding the biggest scandal in chess history. This is the statement. So the 2022 Singfield Cup Chief Arbiter's statement, St. Louis, September, blah blah blah. In response to the recent rumors circulating the chess world, I can confirm that we currently have no indication that any player has been playing unfairly in the 2022 Singfield Cup. That includes all rounds played to date. We have been running all the Grand Chess Tour events, including the Singfield Cup and other major tournaments here in St. Louis for many years with the same strict anti-cheating measures that were in place for rounds 1 to 3, and we're not aware of any fair play violations during these past events. These measures included scanning of players with metal detectors prior to games and randomly after games, close observation of the players, and fair play analysis by Professor Kenneth Reagan using the FIDE game screening tool. However, on behalf of all the players and the event, I consulted the Grand Chess Tour Chief Arbiter, David Sedgwick, and together we advocated that additional anti-cheating measures be enacted after round 3. These measures included the scanning of players with RF scanners and the 15-minute delay on the live broadcast. I'm very thankful to the organizers in St. Louis who immediately agreed to these requests despite additional expenses, last-minute technical issues, and the loss of a truly live broadcast. The Arbiter team will continue to remain vigilant, and all of the anti-cheating measures that have been in place will continue to be so for the remainder of the event. Chief Arbiter Chris Bird. So that's basically what we have. There is nothing new on the topic, and as soon as there will be, I will keep you guys informed. So let's get to the game. Alireza has the white pieces and he opens with e4. We have e5 by Wesley, knight f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4. Alireza goes for the Italian game. We have bishop to c5, the Gioco Piano, and now pawn to d3. We have knight to f6, castles, and now d6. We have c3, and Wesley also castles. We have h3, h6, and now rook to e1. So all very standard moves of the Gioco Pianissimo. We have a6, a4, now preparing b4. So pawn to a5. Wesley says, nope, you will not be playing b4 this game. So okay, knight b to d2, and now bishop to e6. And this is where things start to get very interesting. We have pawn to b3 by Alireza, and now comes rook to e8. Here there is a game even where bishop captures on c4 was played. Alexander Grishuk defeated Jumabayev with this idea, but rook to e8 is much more common. So rook to e8, or rather bishop to b5, and also knight to f1. Those are the top moves. Rook to e8 not so much. And here we have bishop to b2, and this is now a new move, so already as of move 12 we have a completely new game. In this position I meant that knight to f1 and bishop to b5 are known moves, but bishop to b2 has never been played before, so now we have a completely new game. So as Alireza allowed it, Wesley of course executes d5 immediately. We have bishop to b5 and d captures on e4. We have d captures, and now knight to h5. Trying to get the knight to that very active f4 square, but also just keeping it on h5 is also fine, as at some point you might bring it to g3. The f-pawn is pinned, so the f-pawn will not be able to move. We have knight to c4 by Alireza, and there you really don't have any good discoveries here. Like if you try something like knight captures on e5 with the idea of capturing the knight, just knight captures on e5, and now of course if queen captures, there's queen captures on d2. So the tactics don't work in white's favor. So here, knight to c4, putting more pressure on that e5 pawn, and now we have queen to f6. Of course, Wesley is trying to get something out of this f2 pawn, as the bishop is beautifully placed here. So bishop captures by Alireza, b captures on c6, and now knight c captures on e5. And interestingly, it's only move 17, but Alireza's position is completely lost. But you have to play it to absolute perfection to pull this off, and in the game that was not the case. Here Wesley played bishop captures on h3, which is a spectacular move, and a very strong one, but there is an even stronger one, and I will show it. So bishop captures on h3, yes, however, with the inclusion of rook 8 to d8. With rook 8 to d8 attacking the queen, and only now after the queen moves do you go for this bishop captures on h3 idea, because then it's a much different story. Bishop captures on h3. Of course, you can never capture this. If you capture, you just get destroyed. Rook captures on e5 and so on. Rook captures, for example, knight captures, queen captures, and well, that's just it. The bishop, the rook coming into the attack, the knight, it's too overwhelming to play this. So basically what you would try is c4, open up the dark square bishop, and now queen to f4. Again, not all that much to do. The queen is coming to g3, and after king to h1, unpinning from this plan, just rook captures on e5, bishop captures on e5, and now bishop captures on g2 with check. After king captures, queen to g4 check, king to h2, and now you can play a lot of moves, but bishop to d6 is the most precise one. So this is how how Wesley could have defeated Alireza. For example, bishop captures, rook captures. Now the rook is also coming to g6. The knight is hanging, and if you defend the knight, then let's say knight to f4. Now this is being threatened. This is being threatened. If knight to e1 to guard the g2 and h3 squares. Now rook to g6. Now this is being threatened. And after rook to g3, of course, just queen h5 check, king g1, and now knight to e2 with check, king f1, and knight d4. So very, very nicely done. And now, of course, white resigns as the queen is hanging, and also if you move the queen, then queen to h1 will result in checkmate. Even if you trade rooks, doesn't really matter. The threat remains. The a2 square is taken by the knight. So once the queen moves, of course, queen to h1 will be checkmate. So this is only one line that I decided to show you. It's a fun line, but yes, Wesley's idea only if he threw in a nice rook 8 to d8 first. But okay, bishop captures on h3, also very strong. But now Alireza can just bring the knight back to d3. This does not allow rook to d8 to come with an attack on the queen. Also, it attacks the bishop. Also, it adds a defender to the f2 pawn. And still, rook 8 to d8 is the best way for Wesley to continue, and he should do this. But then knight d4, and well, it's very, very, very unclear. So instead, after this knight to d3 move, Wesley doesn't like the idea of rook 8 to d8. He plays queen to g6, which also makes perfect sense. He wants to deliver checkmate here, but it's very easy to parry this threat. So here, knight to h4 attacks the queen. Also, knight guards against checkmate. Queen g5 now attacks the knight, and now knight captures on c5. And this is one very, very important attacker that was just eliminated. Queen captures on h4, and now g captures on h3. And here Wesley plays queen to g5 with check. He has to pick up the knight somehow. Again, maybe a trickier way to go about it is rook to e5. Just put more pressure on the knight and also prepare rook to g5 check. But he decides to go for queen to g5 check. We have queen to g4. Alireza offers a queen trade, and of course now Wesley just picks up the piece. So the queen captures on c5. We have c4. Now Alireza putting pressure on g7. For the moment, the knight is defending it, so it's not a problem. And now rook 8 to b8 by Wesley. And here, this is again, rook to d8 could have been played. There are some moves that maybe are maybe just better, like queen to g5, for example. But after rook 8 to b8, there is a beautiful, beautiful move that Alireza plays, and that is pawn to e5. And once you see it, now it all makes sense, as the knight on h5 is hanging. So how do you deal with this? You could also just play rook captures on b3. It's possible, but it's extremely complicated. For example, if rook captures on b3, you don't go after the knight. The point is there's bishop to d4, attacks the queen, and now once the queen moves, now you're gonna play bishop to e3. As if you capture the knight, then your bishop hangs, so bishop to e3, and now the point is the knight has nowhere to go. You can't really save the knight, so once you trade, let's say queen captures, pawn captures, again, the knight has nowhere to go. It doesn't matter if the queens get traded off or not, white will just be better here. But still, it's very unclear. If rook captures on e5, g captures, this is a weak pawn, this is a weak pawn, so yes, Alireza would be up a bishop, but those are 6 pawns Wesley has, so If anyone can win this, it's white, but it would not be very, very clear. But here, Wesley played the g6 instead. He just defended his knight, and now there is a big problem. There is a move Alireza can play where he will be completely winning, so feel free to pause the video and try to win this game for Alireza while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on taking away almost all the squares from the black queen. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is bishop to a3. That's the good stuff. Now the queen can't go here, can't go here. You can't go up the board. You can go to e7, but again the bishop will take it. So you can only go to b6 or to a7, and neither is all that great. Queen to b6 was played in the game, but now comes pawn to e6, and now you see why g6 wasn't the greatest of ideas. As it just weakens the black king's position too much, and of course the e6 pawn now completely undermines black structure here. So here Wesley tries c5. This will allow the queen to somewhat help out with the defense, but it is not enough. Captures with check on f7, king captures on f7, queen to d7 with check. We have king to f8, and now we have queen to d5. Just threatening bishop captures on c5, which would win the queen. So king to g7, and now bishop captures on c5. And here, if you move the queen, and again, there really aren't all that many great squares, like, for example, you go queen f6, like bishop here, just loses material for black. If you go, let's say, queen to a6, again, just rook captures on e8, rook captures queen d7, check, picks up the rook, and black gets checkmated very quickly. So instead, we have knight to f6, attacking Alireza's queen, but here Alireza just trades because, of course, the endgame is completely winning for him. He plays bishop captures on b6, we have knight captures on d5, and here rook captures on e8. We have rook captures on e8, and now bishop captures on a5. I'm just gonna check something real quickly. I think the game might have ended even sooner than this. Yeah, okay, the game didn't go for bishop captures on a5 as soon as rook captures on e8 was played. It was actually in this position that Wesley So resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Obviously, the moves that I've shown are the reason why. So what do? The knight here is hanging, the rook is hanging. You can maybe take the bishop, but then you lose the rook. If you play in, for example, knight captures here, then rook captures on b8. Again, it's not much better. And if you go for the standard rook captures on e8, then just bishop captures on a5. And again, there's now Alireza has too many pawns. Also, the knight is hanging. Once you move the knight, you can play something like rook e1. You offer a rook trade. Of course, a rook trade would be winning for white. So you can move the rook, but then rook e7, checking f6, rook captures here. Just Wesley's position completely falls apart. So yeah, that was not seen on the board. After this rook captures on e8 move, it was in this position on move 32 that Wesley So resigned the game, and Alireza takes a great victory. So even though you can see that maybe okay, it's hard to maybe say it, but bishop captures on h3 is an incredibly strong move, but rook 8 to d8 is an even stronger one. So for example, in your own games, if you have a position, if you find a really great move, you know, it doesn't hurt to double check if there's an even better one, maybe lurking around the corner. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Paul Sertanovic, CSFI, Ravishing Reptiles YouTube, Another Casual Coder, and David Kimura for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Sinquefield Cup until it finishes. I think I left round 6 on my interface when, in fact, this is round 8. Yeah, that's really weird. 6 is very similar to 8, but yeah, good thing I caught it, at least for the end of the video. But yeah, this is round 8. There we go. All right, that's updated. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.